Gao Tu's life had already been a storm of secrecy, pain, and silent love. Every day was a fight between survival and despair. His body had been pushed to its limit by years of suppressants. His heart weighed down by unspoken feelings for Shen Wenlang. And now, the greatest test of his existence was upon him, carrying a child that should never have been possible. Yet this was not just a pregnancy, it was Wenlang's child, the embodiment of the love he had cherished in silence for over 10 years. And for that, Gao Tu clung to it, no matter how dangerous it became. But as the days stretched into weeks, the pregnancy grew harder, heavier, and far more dangerous. His body, weakened from years of strain, began to betray him. At first, it was small things, dizziness, fainting spells, sharp pains that made him clutch at his abdomen until tears pricked his eyes. But soon the symptoms grew unbearable. Nausea tore through him until he could barely eat. Fatigue consumed him until even standing felt like climbing a mountain. And then came the night that nearly ended everything. The pain began suddenly, sharp and relentless, like knives tearing through him from the inside. Gao Tu doubled over, his hands instinctively wrapping around his stomach, as if his touch alone could shield the fragile life within. He collapsed to the floor of his tiny apartment, his breaths coming out in ragged gasps. Sweat drenched his body, cold and clammy, as wave after wave of agony tore through him. He knew this pain. It was not the usual discomfort of pregnancy. This was something far worse. His child was in danger. For the first time, fear gripped him so tightly it felt like the walls were closing in. "No, not you," he whispered, his voice trembling as tears streamed down his face. "Please hold on. Please don't leave me. I can't lose you." His voice cracked with desperation, the words raw and broken. His hands trembled violently as he clutched his abdomen, willing the small, fragile life inside him to keep fighting. Every second stretched into eternity as the pain grew sharper, heavier, unbearable. Blood soaked through his clothes, the crimson stains spreading across the floor beneath him. His eyes widened in terror. He had heard the doctor's warnings. His body was too weak, his system too damaged by suppressants. The risk of miscarriage was high. And now it was happening. Alone in the silence of the night, Gao Tu lay on the floor, trembling, sobbing, fighting against despair. The world outside carried on, unaware of the life and death battle happening in the shadows of his small, dimly lit apartment. Every creak of the walls, every hum of the city beyond, seemed distant compared to the storm raging inside his body. He clawed at the ground, his fingernails digging into the wood as he cried out in pain, whispering prayers into the air. In that moment, all of his carefully built walls crumbled. All the lies he had told, all the secrets he had kept, meant nothing compared to the reality before him. He was an Omega. He was carrying Wenlang's child, and he was about to lose it. The thought crushed him more than any pain his body could inflict. He could endure loneliness. He could survive rejection. But he could not survive losing the child, the only proof of the love he had carried for so long. Memories of Wenlang flooded his mind. The way he had laughed, the way he had stood tall and strong, the way he had treated Gao Tu as a trusted beta companion without ever knowing the truth. Gao Tu remembered every moment, every smile, every unspoken word. "If only you were here," he whispered through sobs. "If only you knew. If only you could hold me right now. Maybe I wouldn't be so afraid." His voice cracked, barely audible, but in the silence it felt deafening. The pain grew worse. His vision blurred, darkness creeping in at the edges as his body weakened further. His heartbeat pounded in his ears, ragged and uneven, and every breath was a fight for survival. For a moment he thought it was the end. He thought the life inside him had slipped away, and his world shattered in that thought. But then just faintly, almost imperceptibly, he felt a small flutter within him. A tiny movement, fragile and weak, but alive. His eyes widened with relief as fresh tears streamed down his face. "You're still here," he gasped. "You're still holding on." The small flicker of life gave him strength, anchoring him to hope even as his body screamed in agony. He crawled across the floor, dragging himself with trembling arms until he reached his bed. Every movement was torture. Every inch felt like an eternity, but he refused to stop. With sheer willpower, he pulled himself onto the mattress, clutching his stomach as though he could shield the child with his very being. He curled into himself, whispering over and over, "Hold on, hold on, don't leave me. I'll protect you. I'll give you everything. Just stay." Hours passed like years. The bleeding slowed, though the pain lingered like fire in his veins. His body felt broken, but his spirit burned brighter than ever. He had almost lost his child, but the small flutter within him told him that they had survived, for now. He lay there, utterly exhausted, tears still streaming down his face, whispering promises into the night. "We'll make it. I don't care how much it hurts. I don't care what I have to endure. I'll fight for you. I'll fight for us. I'll fight until the very end." The near loss became a turning point for Gao Tu. It stripped away his illusions, exposed the fragile line between life and death, and reminded him of what truly mattered. From that night on, he became even more determined, even more protective. He monitored every movement, every pang of discomfort, every sign that the pregnancy was at risk. He ate carefully, rested as much as he could, and lived with constant vigilance. His life no longer belonged to him, it belonged to the child. But the fear never left him. Every time he felt pain, his heart raced with terror that it might be happening again. Every time he saw even the faintest trace of blood, panic clawed at his chest. Sleep was filled with nightmares of loss, of emptiness, of waking up to silence where once there had been life. He lived on the edge of hope and despair, balancing his existence on the fragile thread of survival. And yet, through it all, his love for Wenlang remained unshaken. He whispered to the child constantly, telling them about their father. "He's strong, he's kind, he's everything I ever wanted." Gao Tu said softly, his voice filled with longing, "I wish you could see him. I wish he could hold you. Maybe one day, if we both survive this, he'll know about you. And maybe, just maybe, he'll love you too." His words were tender, hopeful, and filled with dreams that seemed impossible yet gave him strength. The night he almost lost the pregnancy would remain etched in his soul forever. It was a reminder of how fragile life could be, how close he had come to losing everything. But it also became the fire that fueled him, the reason he endured the endless pain and isolation. He could not give up, not after coming so close to losing the most precious gift he had ever been given. For Gao Tu, the pregnancy was no longer just a burden or a risk. It was a fight for love, for life, and for the hope of a future that he had never thought possible. He carried it not just as an omega, but as someone who had devoted his entire existence to Wenlang.